Hello and welcome to this very special conversation, Talking Big. I couldn't be more thrilled for what I'm about to do. I'm talking to two of the biggest sports stars in the world. They're joining me right now. The greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, and the greatest ever F1 racing driver of all time, Lewis Hamilton. And they're both here. How are you, gentlemen? It's such a pleasure to welcome you both. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, James. Lewis, love seeing you, obviously.
Yeah, great to see you.
Have your paths crossed with each other before?
Yeah, Tom and I, we've met multiple times and been in touch for some years now. Sometimes I message him, trying to secretly get a bit of advice.
Well, this is great. This is fantastic. Now, look, you have so much in common, yet your sports are completely different. What similarities do you think you two share outside of being, frankly, for my liking, too good-looking to be athletes? Like, Lewis, when you look at what Tom does, do you see any similarities?
I do. I mean, I watch really closely what Tom has achieved. Some of the things that Tom does in his training, how he prepares himself, how he conducts himself with his team. There are so many things that you can take from watching a great athlete like Tom that you can then apply it to being a better athlete yourself.
And, Tom, do you look at other athletes like Lewis? Is it inspiring? Do you see any similarities in his dedication as an athlete?
Yeah, I mean, Lewis was, from the time he was a teenager, one of the real prodigies of the sport. And Lewis, already trained this morning for, 10, 12 hours, something like that. How many other people are doing that? That's why he's the greatest Formula One champion of all time.
Just hearing you say that, Tom, made me think about that. And I hope I'm getting this right. Lewis, when you had won, I think you won a go-kart tournament, and I think you were certainly under the age of 12 or 13, and you went up to Ron Dennis, who I think was running the McLaren team at that point, and you said, "Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton, and I'm going to race for you one day." And then, Tom, am I right in thinking that when you first signed your professional contract, you said to the owner of that team, "I'm going to be the best decision you ever made"? Is that true?
I had said that to the boss of my team, and he tells the story a little different because I said, "You'll never regret picking me." Now, I think he doesn't quite remember the same way, but that's how I remember it. But I guess the point is there was a confidence, that you got to have. And you obviously, I always tell my teammates this, you have to believe in yourself before anyone else believes in you. Because when you get around your teammates, they're going to look in your eyes, and those eyes are going to tell them a story. And if you look like you have confidence and belief in yourself, they're going to believe in you and they're going to believe in themselves. So that's the point is, I think for me, I had a young age, I thought, okay, I know I can do this. I had a lot of training and I was prepared, and I knew when I got my opportunity, I was going to take advantage. So I was very fortunate to get the opportunity, shortly thereafter.
I don't know how it's been for you, Tom, but in my life, absolutely everything that's happened, it's been something I visualized or dreamt of, and I was, just gave everything to get to those places, of course, with a lot of help from great people around me. I had a vision and that belief in myself, which enabled me to get it. And I, of course, going back 10, 15 years, you could have never imagined that those things would really come true. And to the boss, 10 years later, he gave me a deal, and I won the world championship for him 10 years later. So it's crazy to hear that's something similar to Tom.
So much of both of your sports are about the significance of perfect timing. Tom, talk to me about the significance of perfect timing in a football game.
I think when the timing is on your side and the rhythm's right, you got to stay there. And you got to find ways to maintain that. And that's hard to do because there's a lot of external forces coming at you, because usually you have an opponent who's trying to do the same thing. When you're out of rhythm and your timing's off, a lot of people still just charge at the same tempo. And I always think that's a good opportunity to actually slow things down. And hey, where are we at? How do we reevaluate this? You get into a game and the first half of the game doesn't go the way you want. Well, you got to change the rhythm, change it. And then once you get it, then you keep it.
When I'm watching the game, Tom, how you're finding someone and then split-second decision you take. It's very, very similar, I guess, and I guess I can relate in the split-second decisions I have to take in the races. And it is about getting into that rhythm.
I know both of you have a shared love of watches. Lewis, what is it about watches that you love so much?
I've always been into kind of mechanics. To start as a kid, I was always taking things apart and rebuilding them. When you look at one of these watches and there's 500 pieces all put together by one person, the craftsmanship, I think, for me is fascinating. Plus, you know, the pieces obviously are tiny. I remember getting my first watch. It was from Argos in in England, and the watch was like £6, and that I remember saving up for that watch, and it was I went to school and I felt really proud. I used to wear it outside my blazer, and I thought that it elevated me.
What about you, Tom? When did you first discover your love of watches and what they represent?
Certainly for men, there's not a lot of jewelry that we typically wear, and it does, Lewis said it perfect, it elevates your look. And in college, as I was going to become a professional, I had this on my screensaver. This was on a really old computer, and the screensaver was a watch, and it was the IWC, GST automatic alarm from like the late 90s, and it has a screensaver, and I ever thought, if I ever make a few bucks, this would be the watch, that I would want. And I ended up buying my first watch at a Tourneau store in 57th Street in New York, and just went in there at a random time and bought a watch that I still have, this beautiful IWC that I still have.
Really, what the two of you have both achieved in the past 12 months within your sport, I think really separates being great and being the greatest of all time. Like, it suddenly it wasn't a debate, it's a fact. What is it that propels you on to just keep going and keep breaking records that you already set?
First of all, I think it's a real love for what I'm doing. You know, this isn't like a job. It's really a true love, and I fell in love with what I was doing a long time ago. So people from the outside would think, well, what else? What do you want to do? Well, I don't know. You love what you're doing. Lewis loves what he's doing. Like, why take away one of the great loves of your life just arbitrarily to go do other things when maybe not the timing is right? I think the love of what I'm doing and then the willingness to continue to learn and to improve is what is really the most enjoyable. Ultimately, I was always trying to be my best, not the best. I always got satisfaction knowing that I prepared as hard as I could. I gave, so much emotionally to what I was doing. I gave so much to my teammates. I gave everything I had, and that's the most satisfying. So even if you don't get the outcome you want, you're still in a way satisfied, although you're probably not, happy. But there's a satisfaction knowing that you gave your very best.
What about you, Lewis? What keeps you going? Do you have a goal set in mind that you think, well, I'm going to achieve that and then I'll reevaluate it?
Probably when I was younger, subconsciously there were goals. The first step was just getting to Formula One, and then the next was, okay, I'm here, I would love to get there, and then, I reached that point, and then it's what was next. And that early journey is it's about your mission, and then very, very much kind of your soul kind of goal. But then when you get, for me, when I've got further along, realize I'm a part of a huge team of over 1,000 people. How can you elevate? How can you lift other people? And it's a strange process going from being young in your teens where it's all about your success to then seeing it being about a larger group.
Let's talk about superstitions, okay? I've never met an athlete or a sports star who doesn't have some. Talk to me about your superstitions. Do you have any rituals that you do before a game or before a race that you feel bring you luck? Tom, do you have anything?
This is the first day you met someone that doesn't have superstitions. So
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
It's over.
Really?
There's none.
There's nothing.
I really
Same here.
No.
Not superstitious at all.
You don't lace your shoes in a certain way. You don't do one glove on, next glove. Nothing.
Hey, if that's the reason why we're in a losing, we are screwed because this leg, this pant first, and this color, and this, wear this, thing.
Tom, did you ever have it? Did you ever have superstition?
I didn't.
So I did when I was younger. I think I must have been 10 or 11, and my brother gave me this a conker, and it was my lucky conker. So I put it in my suit, and I don't know what happened to the damn thing. It came out my leg, trouser leg or something. I lost this conker. And then I had a lucky pair of underwear. My mom shrunk them. It didn't get till I was 17 or 18. And I had a sequence of how to get, so I was getting dressed, right sock first, left sock, all these steps that I would take. And I remember I got in the car, I was in Germany, and I'm about to start the race, and my helmet wasn't done up. So I've missed one of those elements of these steps that I had made crucial to getting the job done. And I remember I crashed, several seconds later. And after that, I was like, this is ridiculous. This is all in my head. And I got rid of that. And now, like Tom, I don't have any of those things. I think we probably create those things in our minds. And you'll know from what Tom was saying, the psychological challenges that we face. You got to free your mind and let the greatness flow, I guess,
It's interesting because some days you're really up. You walk into the stadium 3 hours before the game, like the Super Bowl. There's more energy. You're more amped up, right? So what do I got to do? I got to bring myself down to a good place, so I can really be where I need to be mentally. Some days I walk in, I'm tired. Man, it's a 1 o'clock game, and you just maybe had a Monday night game, so didn't quite get. And then how do you get yourself up? Oh, I put some music on. So a lot of it is those, there's those instinctual things too that I never want to be so fixed and rigid that, I have to do this. Maybe I need something different on that particular day because life is not robotic.
Now when I'm watching like a 1 o'clock game and I put it on TV, I'm going to be like, Tom's tired. He's probably listening to some show tunes right now just to really pump himself up. He's got the Hairspray soundtrack on. He's going for it. Now, both of you have hit some major milestones. Tom, yes or no answer. 7 rings, greatest of all time. Are we going for number 8?
Yes.
Lewis, 7 world championship titles, equaling the best of all time, as well as the most race wins ever. Over a mammoth season, are we going for number 8?
I've got to follow up Tom, yes.
This is great. How do you think either of you would fare in each other's sport?
I always thought I was a pretty good driver. I was suddenly in the mail this week, I got the most beautiful gift. And you know what I realized? It doesn't fit. So how can I be a driver? How can I be a driver when the helmets don't fit me?
Well, that's a hell of a gift. So hang on, Tom, are you going to replay this? Are you going to send Lewis an NFL helmet?
I'm going to send him one of mine, and I'm going to see how he likes it. But I think we could get Lewis in there for a few plays. I think I've seen his athletic ability. He's pretty talented in a lot of areas. I think he could do some things on the football field.
I would run the opposite way. Seeing those guys the size that they are, no, I don't know if I could do it.
No, I actually think, Lewis, you'd be good making those runs because you're so good at anticipating danger.
I've got short legs. The RPM of my legs are gonna have to be super high.
Now, I wanted to play a quick game of true or false, okay? We're gonna pit you against each other, okay? You both know how to dominate your respective sports. Now we're gonna find out how well you two know each other. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put 60 seconds on the clock. Yeah, you need your game face. This is it. This is serious. This is the biggest tournament either of you will ever be part of, okay? So we're gonna put 60 seconds on the clock, and we're gonna have a knowledge test with a simple true or false, okay? Tom, you're gonna go first. These questions are all about Lewis Hamilton. And your time starts now. Lewis can lose around 8 pounds of weight during a single race.
True.
It is true. Lewis lost as much as 10. That's my new diet. Okay, true or false?
Hey, quit wasting my time.
I'll add 3 seconds. Lewis has won 90 races during his career. True or false?
False. Way more than that.
95, correct. True or false? Lewis eats an entirely plant-based diet. True or false?
We got true.
True. True or false? Lewis featured on the Christina Aguilera song, Not Myself Tonight.
False.
It was false. It was Pipe under the pseudonym XNDA. Okay, true or false? Lewis has a cameo in the Pixar movie Cars 2.
True. Boom!
True is correct. Okay, quickly, we're running out of time. Lewis is just 13 years old when he got his first Formula One contract.
True.
True is absolutely absolutely right. Look at that. He got 6 questions right. So, Lewis, your best chance here is to tie with Tom Brady. There's a lot of pressure on your shoulders now.
That's amazing.
Okay.
The best you could do is tie. Let's keep that in mind. If you do your best, all you could do is tie.
He's sucking
That
me
was
out.
some. He really was. He was really getting in your mind there. Okay. Here we go. Questions for Lewis. Lewis, here we go. 60 seconds on the clock, please. These questions are all about Tom Brady. True or false? Tom Brady has never had a cup of coffee.
True.
It is true. Tom, you should try it. It's so good. Okay, question 2. Tom threw for 2,217 yards and 16 touchdowns his senior year playing for the Ohio State Bucks.
False.
False, you're right. He played for the Michigan Wolverines. True or false? Tom was the 89th pick in the 2000 NFL draft.
False.
He was 199th. True or false? Tom drinks a minimum of 112 ounces of water a day. That's 14 glasses. True or false?
I'm going to say true.
True is right. Professional baseball team, the Montreal Expos, wanted to sign Tom in '95 before he turned them down. True or false?
True.
Okay, quick. Tom Brady made a cameo in the HBO series Entourage. True or false?
True.
And it's true. Look at that. An incredible draw. There is greatness in both of you. Look at this. 7 championships, 7 Formula One championships, and now you've drawn in this as well. I cannot tell you, Tom and Lewis, anytime I've been around either of you, it is always a thrill to be in your orbit, but to get this moment, to talk to you both together is an absolute thrill for me. It really, really is. Congratulations on everything you have achieved in your sports and everything that you're going to carry on doing. We know the debate will rage on about who is the greatest sprinter, basketball star, tennis player, but there is no question that you two belong amongst the sporting greatest of all times. Thank you for joining me today for an inspiring and brilliant conversation. Tom Brady, thank you so much. Lewis Hamilton, thank you so much. Best of luck for the future, fellas. All my love.
Thanks, James. Bye, Lewis.
Great to see you, Tom.